We have had to put up with these entitled international welfare queens. Okay. They don't fear us, but they should. We're the most powerful nation on the planet. Lesser countries should fear you. They don't have to like you. That's not what makes peace and stability across the globe. It's not countries liking each other. That doesn't exist. It's when they fear you, when they're afraid of you, which they should be. Now, these are all obvious observations, but until Donald Trump's election, nobody in Washington ever made them. Our political leaders and expert class in this country have pretended for so long that all of our problems are hopelessly complicated. There's really nothing we can do to solve any of them. All we can do is sit around pontificating and debating and coming up with abstract theories to explain why we're so screwed. Well, Trump is proving that you can actually take action and do simple yet effective things to solve serious yet simple problems.
Let's go. Matt Walsh is hyped just like I am. You can tell it in his voice. Matt Walsh is, it's frustrating. He's on the Israeli wire, but I like him a lot. And I still like him. I don't subscribe to the Daily Wire anymore, but Matt Walsh is great. So we're going to hear Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire, the Ben Shapiro wire, the Jeremy Boring wire, the passive aggressive Jeremy Boring wire. He had a passive. I did find out. I did look into the comments he made about Brett Cooper. That was foul. He made comments. He was kind of like, he was comparing Brett Cooper to, I don't even remember the name of the ex-friend of hers that hosts the show now. She's not having a good time with it. They didn't set her up for success. He was like, he said something to the effect of, but I don't, for her, I don't have to pay for acting classes. I don't have to pay for dancing classes. And like he had done too much for Brett Cooper. Well, whatever you did for Brett Cooper to blow her up, you're going to have to do that times 10 for this new one. But let's get back on topic. Matt Walsh, he's going to really break down the Trump peace through strength on Colombia.
You can, in fact, just do stuff. You can send illegal aliens back home. And when their home country doesn't want to take them, you can force them.
Yes, sir.
And that's maybe the single most prominent lesson from Donald Trump's first week in office.
Absolutely.
We've already accomplished more on the international stage than we did in 4 years under the Biden administration. For Americans, this is a rare and welcome sign that we're finally getting what we voted for. And for everybody else, especially in places like Haiti and Colombia, but also all over the world, it's a clear signal that they need to respect.
We got to stop the live. Happy birthday to the homie Ray. I didn't even know, man. Happy birthday, bro.
American sovereignty. And if they don't, then they too will be as humiliated as the president of Colombia is right now. They will face crushing embarrassment or worse on the international stage. And the United States, without apologizing to anyone, will celebrate their defeat. Now let's get to our 5 headlines.
Matt Walsh talking about Colombia. Trump teaches Colombia a hard lesson. If you didn't follow this, Donald Trump manned up and he let Colombia know this isn't going to be the time to play games with me. He never would have done it this swiftly in his first term. He probably would have done it, but this happened with, this was days ago. It was well within his first week. Over the weekend, Trump swiftly responded to Colombian President Gustavo Petro's refusal to allow 2 military aircraft carrying undocumented illegal Colombians. And what does that tell you about the state of our country? Colombia doesn't want their own people back to land. Trump's quick and forceful reaction showed that this is going to be about what I want. It's a bold move. Right away, Trump, quick communications. Within an hour, we heard about the planes being denied, or however the 2 military aircraft weren't allowed to land. Within an hour, we heard from Truth, Catherine, what's her name? Is Catherine Levitt, right? The new press secretary, and all, got it all to all the media within an hour. He said it immediately. He said, effective right now, 25% tariff on all imports. I was like, whoa, because they turned back 2 planes. And it was just the principle of it. You're not taking back your own, you're not taking back your own people. He said immediately, effective now. Effective this post on Truth, 25% tariff. Test me. Then he said, within a week it'll be 50. See if I'm playing games with you. I don't think we've ever seen this before. I don't remember. when you put everything that Trump has done within a week, we have never seen this before. Let's get back to the clip, man.
Vance was back on the cable news circuit over the weekend. Personally, I'd like to see Trump send Vance out to do the cable news rounds just keep sending him until they refuse to take him anymore because he's constantly humiliating the news anchors.
Agreed.
Vance is very, very good at this. And that's what led to this immediately iconic moment between Vance and CBS anchor Margaret Brennan on Sunday. Here they're talking about the refugee program and the lack of vetting that has historically accompanied these so-called refugees and asylum seekers who come to this country. Or at least Vance is talking about the lack of vetting. Margaret Brennan is insisting that they are being vetted. And that culminated in this great moment. Watch.
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals
but there are
have been properly
30,000
vetted.
people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary concern as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that we know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people are vetted.
Good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted. And many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted. And because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country. And I think most Americans agree with me.
So that line at the end there has already become a legendary meme. I don't really care, Margaret. It's kind of the frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn of this generation. And it is as simple as that. I don't care. I don't want that person in my country. That's it. But why do we want that person here? And the line is great. It becomes like a slogan, a banner that we can march under. I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in this country. And what's great about it is because it represents two things. And the first is, I don't care, right?
Yep.
You could try to use emotional blackmail. You can do the guilt trip routine.
Yep.
You can call us bigots.
Yep. Love that
whatever.
energy.
We don't care.
Don't care.
And this is why I've always said that the most powerful response to anyone on the left when they try to put a label on you, when you're making an argument and they respond by saying, well, if you think that makes you a xenophobe, a homophobe, whatever, racist. The most powerful way to respond is to look at them and say, I don't care that you think that of me.
Yeah.
I understand that you think I'm a racist, sexist bigot.
Yep.
I don't care that you think that.
Now, Vance did not do that, though, when he was tested about people on the right who were criticizing him for being in an interracial relationship with his wife, who's Indian, to my knowledge. He didn't do that, I don't care then. And to me, Matt, my criticism or feedback or pushback to you would be, J.D. Vance should have went back to when he was asked on the interview, what do you think about these people on the far right who question your marriage? And he basically said they're supremacists or, something whack like that. And he easily could have said, I don't care what you think. And if he doesn't agree with them, that's perfectly fine. He could say, I don't care what they think either. He doesn't have to call them anything. He can even say, hey, you can call me whatever you want. You can call them whatever you want. I don't care. Here's what we're working on. I would appreciate it if he had said, well, they're entitled to that position. Obviously, I don't agree there, but here's why they're saying that. That would make me vote for that alone would make me vote for JD Vance. That's the take I have, but not many people do in my scenario. Let's see if Race 2 is going to be jumping on here soon and we'll be going out. So let me finish off this clip. I think I got a little bit more.
It doesn't matter to me. Your opinion of me is irrelevant. And that it's a totally disarming response because the whole labeling tactic, the whole strategy depends on you caring about the labels they put on you.
Ollie 004, great comment as always, says, saw someone say the HR lady leftism is over. No one cares anymore. It feels like we've been living in a rogue HR lady country for years now. At least, the whole Biden regime. And then before Trump, we felt like it. So we had like 4 years where there was kind of a reprieve, but Trump was taking over, and the whole year of 2020, he was taking over. And during his whole first term, it was still HR lady stuff. Now it's a little bit different. The energy in the country is a little bit different now. It does. It feels like that. What's the name of the Harry Potter character? Actually, one of my favorite characters in the movie was the proper lady who wore red, who came in and became the new instructor. And she, to me, in the movie, represented the corporate Democrats and Republicans, and the corporate more Democrat because they run the show. She was the HR lady who tried to act nice but would be savage, wants to imprison you, wants to break the law to get at you. That's what we've been living on. It's literally happened to citizens, innocent citizens. Trump pardoned the protesters from the people from the places that wanted to unlive fetuses. He pardoned them. So let me go back to Matt Walsh.
Which is why, for a very long time, this strategy was effective, because people were, even on the right, were, many of them were terrified of being labeled, certain things. But if you don't care, then what? What now? That it's like, well, I got nothing left.
Yep.
It's, oh, well, it's mean to think that. Oh, okay. Are you denying that it's mean? I'm not really even deny. I don't care enough to even deny it.
Yep.
That's what you think. I don't care that you think that. Well, but what do we, they got nothing. They got nothing left. And if you make it clear that you don't care how they feel about you, you don't care that they disapprove, you don't care about any of that, there's really nowhere for them to go from there. And the second part is just as important, because Vance says he doesn't want the person in his country.
Yep. And there's no denying.
He wouldn't want that person in his community living next door to his wife and children. It's a really important point. This is something that a lot of us have said about politicians for a long time. Like, we're the ones saying to the politicians that are facilitating the invasion of our country, we say, well, you wouldn't want your children living in a neighborhood with these people. To hear that now from the vice president, that exact same logic, where he's saying, yeah, you're right, I wouldn't want these people living with my children. And if I don't want them around my children, I'm not going to put them in anyone else's community, around anyone else's children. Like, that's exactly the kind of thinking that we need. And it really is as simple as that. That's how we should be thinking about this issue. When it comes to immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, whatever we want to call them, and really all of these categories are now, like, they're indistinguishable. I mean, there's really no distinguishing, but every single illegal immigrant in the country, according to the left, would qualify as a refugee. Every single one. And they wouldn't even deny that. I mean, they would not look at any illegal immigrant and say, well, yeah, except for he's not a refugee. Except maybe if you had any illegal immigrants that from a predominantly white country, then maybe in that case they would say, well, that doesn't count.
Yep.
But for the most part, they would say these are all the same. So
Caroline Leavitt, she today talked about this same topic, and she did a great job as press secretary.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You may have to point at the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing.
If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal. Yes.
Thank you. On stripping.
There's Matt Walsh closing the deal on that J.D. Vance, and really showing how J.D. Vance is the next one up. That's my close on this segment. J.D. Vance is the next one up after 4 years. They're going to go by fast. And he's ready. He looks like he's ready. Looks like he's getting a lot better.
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to After Show Carnage.